Hello everyone, BlueMoonSamurai here, with Dexter and Penny, of course. And we are nearing the end of this series. Sorry, it took a while to get out this one. But yeah, this is the second to last video of my film class series. And so I'm really excited for the last one. It's my personal favorite. And I'm just so excited to just talk about those movies. This is with my class on comedy films. Now I'm going to try a slightly different format where I have a script, but I'm mainly just going to go use it for reference, just because it feels like this is more of a personal video, and so I can go more off the cuff. But this just helped me organize my thoughts and remember shit. Alright, so this class is about comedy films and how a comedy has evolved over time. Just a lot of discussion about societal impact and what's considered offensive now versus at the time some of these films were released. It is mildly annoying. I feel like most people, including myself, just didn't want to step on anyone's toes with anything too out there, but I'm gonna try my best to give my honest opinions here, and we should say the end. Okay, sorry. Stupid bad joke aside. I'm gonna try my best to keep my opinions honest. So, yeah. So our first film is actually the first film we watched in class, and it's Borat: Cultural Learnings for America for Make Benefit Glorious Nation of Kazakhstan. Or Borat for short. It's a 2006 film starring comedic actor Sacha Baron Cohen, who's known for quite a few different roles, but mainly this one. Actually, recently my fiance is talking about how they find it difficult to see Sacha Baron Cohen as anyone but Borat. So it's about the titular character Borat, who is a Kazakh TV journalist of sorts, and he's dispatched to America to report on the country, show Kazakhstan why America is the greatest country and why they should replicate it and all that stuff. However, he gets distracted by his love for Pamela Anderson, and it becomes a journey to kidnap her and bring her home to Kazakhstan to be his wife. For the most part, it is just a collection of pranks on the public. And honestly, I found about the first half of the movie funny. It's just blatantly offensive, but such a ridiculous extent that I thought it was funny. But then it reaches to the halfway point where there's a nude wrestling scene where Borat and his cameraman. I don't know who's. No, it's not the cameraman. It's someone else on. It's not his buddy. Borat and his buddy argue, have a fight because he walked in on his friend masturbating Pamela Anderson, and she's only for Borat, and they just wrestle and fight in the nude. That was boring and uncomfortable, kind of gross. And then, after that, the movie just kind of remembers, hey, the plot is, to find Pamela Anderson, and so it moves on with that, and I didn't care for it. Yeah, there isn't too much I have to say. It's okay. First half is kind of funny, and I haven't seen the second film, so I don't have any thoughts on that. So with that in mind, Borat, you get a meh. So our next film is Tootsie, which is a 1982 film starring Dustin Hoffman, and he plays a struggling actor just trying to find his big breakout role, and he ends up dressing up as a woman and just to land a role in this hospital soap opera thing, and he ends up being one of the biggest actors on it. Now, when I think about Tootsie, I immediately think back to when I first watched it several years ago. I watched it one Easter with my dad and my sister, along with Mrs. Doubtfire. And so I proudly explained to my 6th grade very Christian classroom that we watched 2 films about cross-dressing men for Easter break. Yeah, at the time I thought this and Mrs. Doubtfire was more, haha, it's funny because it's a man dressed as a woman. And so I wasn't too sure about how great this film actually was, in my opinion. Now that I'm a bit older and have different opinions on stuff. And I was pretty surprised with how fairly progressive it is, especially for the time. A lot of it is a very good commentary on, well, I shouldn't say a lot of it. There's a decent amount of commentary about how women are treated in the workplace, especially at the time. And it was just like, I think it was like portrayed fairly well, especially with Dustin Hoffman's character kind of realizing, oh, this is how women are treated, just for being female and in the workplace. Like, he even suffers from workplace sexual harassment when he's dressed up as his female caricature. Well, of course it has its flaws. I kind of puts down lesbians as like, he falls for one of his coworkers, and he accidentally like lets it slip that he has a crush on her, but under the guise of being a female. And so like she's just kind of uncomfortable and not really wanting to be around her anymore, or around him anymore. Overall, it was a good film. I'd like watching it again. I recommend. So Tootsie, I don't know if I'd put, I think I'll put you for okay right now. This is the film I was most excited to talk about when it came to this list, and that's Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, which is an Aussie film. So it's a 1994 film about 2 men and a woman traveling across the Australian desert to perform like their biggest drag show yet. I was pleasantly surprised with how queer-friendly this film is, given the time it came out. So the main cast like are a potentially bisexual man. It's not really touched upon, but it's kind of mildly discussed that he's at least gay. I don't know, but he's played by Hugo Weaving, and it's his wife that grants his group like the time and space to perform at a hotel she's working at. There's a young gay man played by Guy Pearce, who's top tier. He's always been. And he's a bit of a troublemaker, and I'll get on that later. And then there's Bernadette, who is a trans woman, and she's played by Terrence Stamp. It's a fun road trip movie with some good points of discussion. At one point, the group stop in like the middle of the night somewhere, and they decide to perform a drag performance for a group of indigenous people that they meet. And it's just like a really good time. Everyone's just having fun, and like even the one guy they're talking with, like he gets in on it. He gets to dress and drag, and like it's so much fun. And it's just like 2 groups of marginalized people, not necessarily that the 2 can't intersect, having a good time and like sharing like what makes them them. Like you have some of the indigenous people playing music along with "I Will Survive." Hey, hey. Okay, I'm sorry. Oh no, Pen's asleep. I don't know if that's picking up. Anyway, there is a lot of points with Guy Pearce's character that I personally really, I thought brought in like other really good discussions, especially for queer people. Because he's the youngest of the group, he's a bit of a troublemaker. At one point, he decides to dress up like a woman in a very, very anti-gay area. And, like, he's just, like, hanging out with some of the guys until one of them realizes he's a guy and, like, they're about to physically assault him. And it's a really, really hard watch. Like, nothing happens because one of the guys in the group outs himself as liking drag queens in order to protect him. Like, he gets in between Pierce and the homophobes. Like, it's a really powerful moment, and again, hard watch, even though nothing explicitly happens. Like, I think it also, like, hit me hard because a few months before we watched this film, I caught some news and, like, even saw some video footage of 2 trans women who are being harassed by some college guys in California. And I don't know, I don't think I think they might have been attacked as well, but that wasn't caught on camera, at least not to my knowledge. But it was just it was difficult, and especially, like, watching this so close to time of, like, when that came out, and just, it's sad that this stuff still happens. I like how they chose to make this man, the man that protected Pierce, like, throw away his pride around these, like, group of homophobic guys in order to protect someone. And I think that's a really good message too. And not saying anyone should be attacked at all, but just be willing to stand up for anyone. Especially any queers. Well, I guess not just the queers, but you get my point, I think. Do you? There's another point with Pierce's character that I don't know if I was overthinking something, reading too much into it, or if I was the only one who caught it, or at one point when they're over at the hotel, there's this whole situation with Hugo Weaving's son, like, figuring out, like, just learning that his dad is a drag queen and not really caring about it. But Hugo Weaving is nervous, like, he doesn't want his son to know about that, and his wife's saying, like, it should be okay that his son learns. That's another discussion in itself, but after, like, that, Pierce's character is just, like, kind of teasing the kid, and he says, "So, how does it feel to know that your dad's gay?" And, like, the tone he uses is, like, almost mocking, like he's trying to instigate something. He appears taken aback when the son's like, "I don't really care, like, as long as my dad's happy." And something, like, I really liked about that, just, like, it just seemed like such a glimmer of hope, like, just, like, a look into how the world is slowly but surely is progressing, and, like, how newer generations are becoming more and more accepting of LGBTQ plus peeps. And I thought that was a really powerful moment as well. More on a smaller scale, but I don't know, that scene just kind of hit me hard, and no one else, like, really talked about it. Now, I called this film queer positive, and overall it really is good in that aspect, except for one major thing. It only happens 2 or 3 times, but still large enough to be a major problem. Guy Pearce's character dead names Bernadette, and it's played for laughs in this film. Like, it's one of, like, the movie even ends on like a dead name, like, joke type of thing. That's my biggest issue with the movie, and I completely understand if for that reason alone you wouldn't want to watch it. I mean, it sucks because I see, like, a lot of other, like, it really sucks because there's a lot of other, like, queer positive messages in this film, but it's just That's a no-go. No, it's not that funny. And there's like a few other things. Actually, it's like the guy that helps them, or the guy that protects Pierce's character from getting attacked. He's helping them. But his wife is like a mail order bride, and like she's just kind of like a weird racial stereotype. I forget where she's supposed to be from. She's also played for laughs, and it's uncomfy, especially with, again, the whole mail order bride situation as well. Overall, I would recommend it, but if anything makes you step back, like, again, the dead naming joke, I understand being a complete turn off. Again, it sucks. But overall, I really, really like this film. I'm gonna put in good. Also, the drag performances are fun. Like, I always think of, oh shit, who sings that song? Because finally, da 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 da. That's like their main like performance when they're finally at the hotel, and it's like grand performance. Like, that's a lot of fun. Oh shit, what's it called? Give me a second. All right, today I learned the song is Finally by CeCe Penningston, and I have no idea why I keep thinking like, oh, Whitney Houston. It doesn't even sound like Whitney Houston. Whatever. Anyway, next film. All right, next film is Blazing Saddles. All right, do the right thing. I'm kidding. All right, Blazing Saddles is a 1974 Mel Brooks movie, and I am a big fan of Mel Brooks. Like, anything by Mel Brooks just like instantly makes me happy. Like, they're always, like, his films are always on my favorite, like, at the top of my favorite comedies lists, because they are just silly. Like, Hot Fuzz may be like one of my favorite movies of all time, but in case I just need something to laugh at, like, Hot Fuzz is up there, but I think Mel Brooks, like, just pure silliness, like, kind of tops that. But yeah, they're just movies I like to watch when they pick me up, and Blazing Saddles was one of them. The main premise of the film is about a black man played by Cleveland Little who gets suckered into a weird, like, political investment scheme or whatever. I don't know, it's from a corrupt politician. They're like, oh, we'll make the sheriff of this little town here a black man, and then they'll revolt and we can take over the town and like use it for resources. Because it takes place in the Old West. Cleveland Little plays Bart. He proves himself to be an exemplary sheriff, and he ends racism. That's it. He ends racism. There's a lot of comedic actors such as Gene Wilder and Harvey Korman and Madeline Kahn. Oh God, Madeline Kahn. I'm tired of love. I'm tired. Men, they're always coming and going and going and coming, and always too soon. Am I right? All right. Sorry. The movie has been a subject of much controversy, though, because of the insane usage of the hard R, which, yeah, it's uncomfy. Maybe it's because I'm white, but it doesn't bother me too much. Like, it's historical accuracy, and it's always like the bad people, they're using it, and then like the people in the little town, they're bad little bigots until they realize, oh, this black man, he's a good sheriff. I don't know why I turned Irish there. Poorly Irish, I'd let you. God, that movie. No, I'm just thinking about the ending. It's insane. I love it. I still recommend it. Viewer discretion is advised, of course. If you don't wish to watch it, I'd point to other Mel Brooks films like Men in Tights, Young Frankenstein. That's all my favorites. The Producers is great. And actually, something more about race, but it's a little more serious. Do the Right Thing, which is a 1989 Spike Lee film. So it's about a little like Bedford-Stuyvesant neighborhood on the hottest day of the year. And it centers around like a little Italian-American owned pizza parlor where the customer base has like grown to be mostly like Black and Hispanic. And that kind of irritates like one of the sons of the pizza owner. And so like in the beginning of this film, like start like over a course of a day. This film takes place over the course of a day. And like as the sun's shining, as the pizza shop is opening, like one of the customers like points out that, hey, there's only these white Italian American like baseball players and other celebrities just like on the walls. Why don't you have something that caters more towards the client base? Well, after that one like brief argument, as the day goes on, like tensions rise, it gets hotter, people get angrier, and it reaches a boiling point in the climax, in like a violent climax. I'm not sure why this was shown in comedy class, and it's a good movie and I'm glad I got to watch it. I'd like to watch it again. The ending isn't really easy to watch, or at least that climactic point isn't easy to watch. And the movie flows like a slice of life as it centers around like the little neighborhood. And so you see like people from different walks of life and like different opinions, and there's people you see like you'll hear both their good and bad opinions, like, and you'll come to understand them, but you'll disagree with like their poor opinions, like the racist ones. And honestly, my favorite part of the film was this montage where like it just like flows from like it's a shot, just like a fourth wall break shot where you have one character center frame, just like talking, like just saying all these like very bigoted stuff, like not just like about race. It's mainly about race. I remember they're also talking like just like offensive language towards like mentally disabled people. Don't think there's anything queer. I just know there's like a lot of varying racist opinions. Whether it be about the Italian Americans, like the Black customer base, the Hispanic people, I don't know who else is out there. I know there's quite a few. Just the white American guys. It just like changes setting occasionally, and like it's just like one character that like it switches from different characters, and they're all just facing the camera, just like spouting off all this bigoted stuff. But it's a very interesting scene. Now everyone has a bias of some sort, and like everyone is capable of love as well as hate, and it's an interesting film. I have to rewatch it. I remember just thinking it's mostly okay. I'm gonna put good right now. I don't recall. I know I found it like more like in the middle, like above average, but right now, just kind of looking back on it, I think slightly more above average. I don't know. I have to rewatch it. Anyway, Mean Girls. It's a weird film. It's very much... The more times I watch Mean Girls, the more a product of the time it feels. Not so much as one of the other films that you probably can tell just by looking at the screen here, but not so much as like one of the other like some of the other films actually I'm going to talk about. But the message itself is like timeless. Maybe bullying people is okay. I'm sorry. makes me feel old. Even though this movie came out in 2004, I was only 5. And I didn't watch it until I was, probably like 14, 15. Mean Girls is a 2004 film about Lindsay Lohan's character named Katie, who, transfers from, her family moves from South Africa, and she's the new student in high school. And the popular girls known as the Plastics take quite a liking to her because she's conventionally attractive, and Lindsay Lohan is pretty. And that she gets along pretty well, and she has some of her outcast friends that they want her to just kind of infiltrate them and learn their little things about the Plastics and stuff. And she fits in fine until she has her eyes on the leader's ex-boyfriend. It's a typical high school film about standing up to bullies and overcoming the popular crowd, and yeah, we're all cool in our own way. It's done in a very satirical way, and it's okay. It's fun. It's very quotable. So now I'm just thinking about all the potential there is in this film. Because all the Plastics still come off as one note, and I feel like there's still, most of the characters actually come off as one note, and I feel like there could be more that's explored for everyone. Damien is a very stereotypically flamboyant gay character, yet he's still better than some one-note gay characters that are thrown into, movies and shows nowadays, but could be better. Be better. Mean Girls is okay. Ooh, I'm excited to talk about this next one. I, Tonya. This was the film that... So in this class, we had a list of movies to watch, and then, we had our own groups, and then our groups we had to pick our own movies to talk about. Our group talked about I, Tonya, and I'm so glad we did. And I feel like it does fit under comedy. It's a dark comedy. It's so good. It's so good. Okay, sorry. Getting ahead of myself. So it's a 2017 film about the life of Tonya Harding and the infamous 1994 incident that ended her career in figure skating. For those who don't know, in 1994, Nancy Kerrigan was attacked with a baton to her right leg to prevent her from competing. And the attack was performed by a hitman hired by Tonya's ex-husband, Jeff Gillooly. Yeah. Gillooly. He has a stupid name and he's a stupid guy. Sorry. I don't know the guy, but because I watched a biopic. Okay. I actually wasn't familiar with this attack, as I haven't heard my parents talk about it, which is weird. I imagine my dad would have made it one of the infamous jokes that people would have made at the time. Kind of like the lady who where people didn't believe a dingo actually ate her baby and people just made fun of her. But even still, when I wasn't informed about this incident, is a really interesting look into the life of Tonya Harding. And it's done as a documentary kind of. You have cameras set up to interview Tonya Harding, Jeff Gillooly, various accomplices, Harding's mother, and just various different people throughout their life. Of course, played by different actors, and it's all still just mostly fictional movie. Honestly, it's a lot of fun because everyone is an unreliable narrator, and it's just so much fun to watch. There are points that can be difficult to watch because, like, Tanya was abused emotionally and physically throughout all her life. And honestly, like, the moments where her and Jeff, like, get physical with each other, I had to laugh just because I was uncomfortable and I wasn't sure what else to do. Just watching domestic dispute between, it's not even a dispute, like, full-on brawl between these two. All the actors do a wonderful job, like, making this feel like an actual documentary. Like, especially Margot Robbie, who plays Tonya Harding. Before this film, I've really only seen Robbie portraying Harley Quinn in Suicide Squad. I know, great start for me. And, yeah, but it was really nice seeing how versatile of an actor she can be. Throughout the whole journey of this film, the ending credits play footage of the real Tonya Harding's performances. It's an emotional tie-off. I couldn't even think of the words. I had to look down to see what I wrote. Throughout the long and arduous journey of Tonya Harding in her life, it really is... It did make me quite emotional, just like watching the real life person, like doing her performances. And yeah, in 1991 she became the first American woman and second woman in history after Midori Ito to successfully land a triple axel in competitions. And so that's also what she was like majorly known for before the whole incident with Nancy Kerrigan. It sucks. I think Harding is a very fascinating woman, and I'd like to read the biographies on her. And I am jealous of Margot Robbie. She got to ice skate with her. Harding taught her how to ice skate. Like, that's fucking awesome. I encourage people to like read more into just Tonya Harding, and I recommend this movie a lot. So, Tonya, so great. Speaking of emotional, I'm an emotional bitch, and I cried at our next film, Crazy Rich Asians. When you start getting better, you cry more. No. No, for the most part, Crazy Rich Asians is a fun, lighthearted comedy. But it does delve deep into, like, Asian cultures and the internalized racism within, like, Chinese hierarchy, well, familial hierarchies. And that was really interesting to me. It's not, like, an extensive research into it, but it is a nice look for Western audiences who might not be aware of that. Non-Asian American Western audiences. Non-Asians hyphen wherever you are in the Western world, Asian European Americans. God damn it, Emily. Okay. You get what I mean. It's a nice, not really nice, but it's a good look into other cultures. Yeah, it's a 2018 film based off novel of the same name that I've yet to read. Really want to read it. Especially after, like, talking about it and, like, seeing it. Like, I want to watch it again. Watch the movie again. Read the novels. I think it's a trilogy. Right, so it's a 2018 film about a woman named Constance Wu, who's a native New Yorker, and but she's of Chinese heritage. And she meets a guy in college, and they're dating and all that. Like, everything seems great. And he invites her to meet his family in Singapore, which is where he was born. Really early on, she finds out this big secret that he's been hiding, and that his family is extremely wealthy, and he is a very viable bachelor for many other wealthy families. Mainly about this challenge of this really average Asian American woman, not average in looks. Sorry. okay, this, like, she's from good standing, but she's not like wealthy or anything. And it's about her journey with like meeting her boyfriend's family and just trying to gain acceptance from his mother, who's like the top of the family hierarchy and is very, very strict on tradition and being purely Chinese and not like Asian American, Chinese American. And just like, and it's about Constance's struggles with gaining acceptance with her ethnicity and her financial status. It was a really good movie, and I'm emotional and I cry. But overall, I do want to really, really read the books by Kevin Kwan. So, Crazy Rich Asians. I think I enjoyed Priscilla a bit more. Priscilla was just so much fun, man. I enjoyed that movie a lot. Talking about product of the time. Alright. Miss Congeniality. So to be honest, this is the only film I did not watch for this class. I just didn't feel like it. I've seen it already. But that was probably a bad decision because I missed the lesbian subtext. No, I'll get into that later. Miss Congeniality is a 2000 film starring Sandra Bullock as an FBI agent who's the only conventionally attractive woman in her agency, decided through a very sexist montage of the guys in the agency. She's like seeing like how the ladies in the agency would look in like bikinis and dresses and stuff, and it's kind of weird. So she has to go undercover as a Miss United States beauty pageant contestant. But she's one of the boys. She doesn't know how to do girly things. Will she ever be a proper female and intervene a terrorist plot, or will there be casualties? From what I remember, it's okay. I remember the friendships she formed with the other contestants being kind of wholesome, especially the one with Miss Rhode Island, I think it is. And that's the one like a lot of people are saying like, oh, it'd be a better film if they became a couple, and honestly they have more chemistry than like the male FBI agent that she ends up with. I think he's supposed to be a childhood friend too or something. I don't know. He's some guy. But the very first thing that I think about whenever I remember that this movie exists is Sing, which is the self-defense lesson that Sandra Bullock's character gives when she has to provide a talent, and she can't do the one with the wine glasses because everyone is drinking from them. And it's a really good moment. Like, it's generally good advice, and it's just a good juxtaposition of male-y thing, like of beating up stuff and a woman in a dress. And honestly, I think that'd be like a good talking point for a more accepting beauty pageant. I don't know. I think the premise can still be fun. Just needs some updates, some major updates. And I'm of the opinion that excluding a romance plot overall would make the film better. But I'm not opposed to lesbians. So Miss Congeniality, you are meh. I think these two are interchangeable. Jojo Rabbit. This was the movie I really wanted to watch this. And I was so glad that like someone picked it for their group to discuss. It's a 2019 film, and it's about a young German boy who's part of the Hitler Youth group. That makes it sound like a church. Who's part of the Hitler Youth, which is a group of brainwashed children. He really idolizes Adolf Hitler, so much so that he has an imaginary friend that is just Hitler. played by the director, Taika Waititi. Please excuse me if I mispronounced his name, who is Jewish. And he did that as a fuck you to Hitler. More in the same vein as Mel Brooks, a Jewish director, making absolutely ridiculous song, Springtime for Hitler, for his musical The Producers, and he makes a cameo in the remake where he says, "Don't be stupid, be a smarty, come and join the Nazi party." But his beliefs are challenged when he discovers that his mother had been hiding a young Jewish girl in their house. And so he's trying to figure out how to process that and what's actually right and what's actually wrong. And it's another great World War II film. Like, there's so many good ones. For some reason, when I think of this one, I also think of Come and See, which I'll be talking about in a completely different video. Because they're both about young boys learning the horrors of war over time. Just Come and See is way, way harder to watch. Yeah, it's just like a great, like, shift in lens, as it's like through the viewpoint of a young brainwashed German boy, and like how he sees life and how his viewpoint changes over time. As he talks with the Jewish girl and learns she is a human. Believe it or not. The first half, or like maybe like hour, I don't know. A good portion of the first part of the film is very lighthearted with like dark undertones, because obviously it's Nazi Germany. And then like the last like half hour of the film is very dark and depressing. It's good, but it's quite depressing. Oh, and there's also like a side plot of like I think I remember there being two, but I know one character in particular is a gay man who is a Nazi, and he's trying to deny his feelings and like his identity. And he's a really fun character. Like, he's actually a really good character. Yeah, if you want a good World War II film, I highly recommend Jojo Rabbit. Yeah, I'll put it there. South Park. Bigger, longer, and uncut. Shut your fucking face, Uncle Fucker! Alright, so South Park is special. It's crude and absolutely offensively ridiculous, but I like it. Like, I don't watch it religiously or anything, but I do, like, I don't know, I found that I kind of enjoy the episodes, like, whenever I pull it up on telly or online or whatever. I don't know. Who watches television anymore? Not these guys, they're asleep. And I do find, like, there is merit in, like, the things that they do criticize on their show. Like, I do find there's, like, they do make pretty good points, and I think the satire's decent. It's just, I feel like, there is a lot of their humor masks it a little too much, and so maybe it goes over the heads of some of their viewer base. Bigger, Longer, and Uncut is the 1999 film, and it's about censorship and, like, the outrage of parents over something in the media and, like, finding something to blame it on. And in this film, they go to the lengths of blaming all of Canada. Blame Canada. Shenanigans happen. It's really just a long episode of South Park, and that's fine, especially for, like, the film it is. I feel like a lot of South Park stuff, like the movies, I've only seen this in the COVID special for, like, movie things, but I think they make it work well, just, like, making a long episode. Yeah, if you like South Park, you'll like it. Yeah. The Big Sick. The Big Sick's just really depressing. So I know it's based on, like, actual events, like true events. But it wasn't that fun to watch. It's about the Pakistani comedian Kumali and his relationship with his now wife. Sorry for spoilers, but his now wife Emily. It's about like how like they're like in the beginning, like they're trying to make their relationship work, and like but their cultures clash, and they're just like trying to figure each other out, but they're not communicating properly. Communication's key. If you want a healthy, long-lasting relationship, communicate. But suddenly, Emily falls into a coma because she's suffering from adult onset Still's disease, which is an extremely rare form of arthritis that can like attack like the vital organs and just like shut down the body and lead to death. While hoping for her recovery and like watching over her in like whenever she's in the he's able to visit her in the hospital, Kumali has to deal with her parents because they just broke up over like he has like pictures of like potential arranged marriage candidates. Her parents aren't too happy with him, and they're not too happy seeing him. So he has to deal with them. His rising fame as a comedian, his parents' traditional expectations, and what he really wants out of life and like his relationships. It's not a bad movie, and I'm happy that Kumali and Emily are still married. Again, spoiler alert, she's alive. It's a good ending. I just don't know why we watch this in comedy class. Like, I know he's a comedian, but this film's more of a drama. And it's really depressing. At least I didn't enjoy it, because it's... Because, like, you deal with, like, the relationship issues, and, like, that's realistically portrayed, and that's never fun to watch, and I'm just an emotional bitch. And then you have her in the coma, and you have, like, the threat of her dying, and then when she wakes from the coma, and, like, just her adjusting to life that's gone by without her. That was really hard. It's not a view that a lot of people see, but, the relationships Molly formed with her parents, she has no knowledge of that. And so when she wakes up, all she remembers is them having broken up because of the arranged marriage and stuff. And she's not really on good terms with him. And she knows her parents didn't like him because of that. And now they're really close. And she's, like, missing out on this. And it's really hard to watch. But it's good. I don't really have too much else to say. It's an okay film. I just didn't like it. Oh, I don't want to say I didn't like it, because it's a good film, but I didn't like it. I don't know. Alright, our last film on this list. The best way to summarize The Interview is that's a product of the time. It's a 2014 film starring Seth Rogen and James Franco, and like they run a celebrity tabloid show, and they get a call in requesting an interview from their biggest fan, which is Kim Jong-un. Wow. And the dictator of North Korea. Wow. And so the CIA are like, yo, you guys are going to do this interview, but you're actually going to assassinate him, and it's going to be great, and North Korea will be free and shit, and we won't be nuked and stuff. It's very 2014. And I didn't care for it, because, again, it's very 2014. Like, it's very, very 2014. I can't stress that enough. And it's Seth Rogen. And I'm not a big fan. I don't necessarily say it's bad. It's not really my favorite. I mean, if you like that, check it out. Cool. It's a historical film. decades from now, children will be watching this in their classrooms. This is what we dealt with. Oh, I completely forgot. ZBs. The very gay broship between, I think it was James Franco's character and Kim Jong-un. That was cute. Ignore them. That concludes my comedy film tier list. I don't really have a lot to say. Comedy's subjective. What I find funny, Dexter probably doesn't find funny, and Penny definitely doesn't find funny. But it's all a matter of opinion. And I think comedy is the most versatile, like, not really versatile, but, like, has the most differing opinions, I feel. And that's fine. And it's really interesting, just kind of like going back, what was funny at the time. Especially for stuff like Miss Congeniality. It was an interesting look. Yeah, the link to this tier list will be in the description, as well as, like, my links. Yeah, if you finish watching it, thank you very much. Stick to the end, watch some clipped together shot videos of the dogs being stupid. So the dogs being themselves, and I loved them. Xena, I'm almost done. So, yeah. Thank you so much for watching. If you've seen any of these films, like, leave a comment about what you thought about them. Maybe, like, your thoughts on comedy as a whole. We should not laugh and never be funny. I'm certainly not funny, so I'm working on that. So, yeah. I'll see you in the last film, the last film tier list video, where we'll talk about horror, and I'm super excited. So, alright. So thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one. Bye. Xena, why? Why? Xena! Okay, this is the film. Alright, let me take a water break. Water break. I love you, Dexter. I love yous. Hey, come on, Dex. Come on. Come on. Oh, I dropped my phone. Hello. Okay. I'll lay back down. Shine the light. Ooh, that was off key. Philadelphia freedom. I love you, Dexter. Dexter, why? I love you. Can you tell your sister hush? Thank you for that very useful information. Alright, where was I? Had to feed the dogs. I guess they need nourishment or something. 2, I know, like, 1 especially, but 2, I think. Excuse you. Wake up. Sorry. What's going on? I love you. You're funny. Baby. Big yawn. That was a big yawn. Can I finish this? I'm almost done, please. Both of you. Oh my gosh. Can I finish? You guys already ate. Why are you... What? I will be with you. Just let me finish this, okay? 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 I love you guys. You all smell really bad. You smell like poo. Are you all done? Can I finish this real quick? Okay.